Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 3. Am I audible? Hello, Govind sir. Okay.
Yes. Yes, correct, sir. Amol
Okay.
sir, unmute yourself.
Yes, yes. Sir, hello. Sir, is the screen, is my shared screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Your screen is
Okay,
visible.
okay, fine.
afternoon, everyone. We'll start the session in 5 minutes. Hello, sir. Hello, boss, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Nandini Patil, Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department, DYPCET College of Engineering and Technology, Kolhapur. Here, it's my privilege and honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Amolkumar Jadhav, sir. Dr. Jadhav sir is a distinguished academician, researcher, mentor in the field of computer science and engineering with more than 17 years of teaching and research experience. He is currently serving as an associate professor at DYPCET College of Engineering and Technology, Kolhapur. Previously, he held the prestigious position professor and dean research and development at Annasab Dange College of Engineering and Technology, Ashta. He completed his BE in Computer Science and Engineering from Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, Kolhapur, followed by an MTech in Information Technology from Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune. He earned his PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from Welltech University, Chennai in 2021. Further strengthened his academic credentials by completing postdoctoral fellowship in Computer Science and Engineering from Srinivas University, Bangalore in January 2025. Dr. Amolkumar Jadhav sir, research interests include data mining, big data, optimization techniques, and artificial intelligence. His outstanding contributions to research are reflected in his 38 plus publications in Scopus, Web of Science, Science Springer Index journals, 30 plus international conference papers, 6 national conference papers, and 16 patents, of which 4 have been granted in India and the UK. He is also a passionate resource person and has delivered more than 25 expert sessions on research writing, quality publications, identifying fake journals, research funding proposals, and intellectual property rights for faculty members and students across various institutions. In addition, Dr. Amolkumar Jadhav sir is the author of 2 textbooks, Python Programming for Effective Problem Solving and Data Warehousing and Data Mining. His remarkable contributions have earned him several prestigious recognitions, including the Most Influential Professor Award at the 31st Business School Affair and Devang Mehta National Education Leadership Award in 2024 and the state level Devdan Adarsha Shikshak Ratna Puraskar in 2025. Today, we are truly fortunate to have such an accomplished academician and research with us to share his valuable knowledge and insights. So, on behalf of our principal, sir, management and Department of Computer Science and Engineering, I extend a warm, heartfelt welcome to Dr. Amolkumar Jadhav, sir. With this, now I have the honor of handing over the virtual session to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Amolkumar Jadhav, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. You are right.
Okay, okay. Just I will share the screen. Ma'am, I have shared screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Visible. Your screen is visible.
Okay, okay. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. Uh, Today, I'm going to talk on the most important part of the academics or any technical education, of which most of the institutions and universities are demanding in terms of making the research in different fields. So, from that perspective, I have chosen this topic for uh, effective research paper writing and publishing those research in different quality and reputed conferences and journals. So on that topic, I am going to talk along with, I will also discuss some points about while making our research visible in terms of making it in publication in the conferences and journals. It is very much necessary that while publishing our work or while sending our research material, research work to any of the journal or conference, it is necessary that whichever journal, whichever conference we have chosen, is it quality conference or quality journal, or it is a real journal or real conference, that we need to check in very careful manner, because nowadays we all are aware that how many journals are making kind of a fraud or like clone journals. And if we become a part of that clone journals or fake journals, then there is very serious issue that will arise, because whatever research, whatever work we have done, whatever efforts we have taken, and those efforts we are submitting to any of such fake or such clone journals. So whatever efforts we have taken, those efforts will be of value zero. So on that part also, I'm going to talk. I'm going to show you some uh, practical examples that how we can identify reputed journals or quality journals or real journals, and how we can identify the fake journals or clone journals. So this will be my outline of my work. First of all, now most of the faculties and research scholars have joined this session. So I will just get the overview about what exactly this research paper is and what exactly writing the research paper is. Specifically, a research paper is a formal document that presents the original findings. Here, the term original is most important, because preparing a document or preparing a draft or any word file is not considered as a research until and unless there is some innovative ideas, innovative things are there. So whatever work we are planning to publish or making it available worldwide, so that work should be original. Original term indicates that the work that we are presenting, we are publishing, has not done in past. That is the most important thing, because whatever work we are doing, if that work is not innovative or similar to that particular work, if already some research has been happened in past, then such work, whatever we have prepared, will not be considered as a original work. If there is modification or updation of just not 1% has been done in comparison with the existing work or past work, then also the work is considered as the original work. So here we can't say that whatever the existing things, existing technologies or existing research has been done, and we are going to upgrade it, we are going to modify it in terms of like accuracy improvement, in terms of the quality improvement, or in terms of like making some modifications and improving the performance of that particular research, then also that part will be considered as the original research or original findings. So from that perspective, whatever implementation, whatever work we have done, whatever logic we have applied, whatever techniques we have used to perform that particular work, if that work is giving results which will be like improving the performance in terms of the accuracy, which will be improving the performance in terms of the productivity, in terms of the complexity, then also that work will be considered as the original work. Here, one example I can tell that an engineering student investigates the efficiency of the solar panels. So nowadays, there is lot much of research and lot much of innovations are happening in terms of the solar energy, as we know. And here, one example we can consider as the original research as like one engineering student who is doing some research, who is investigating some or identifying, finding some innovative things in the field of this solar energy, then that work will be considered as the original work. So here the key aspects about this particular example will be like how that particular student will identify the gaps, how he can identify the challenges in the existing solar energy technologies. Based on identification of the problem, how he is making those challenges in terms of objectives. So for achieving those objectives, how or what logic, what techniques, what methodology he is going to prepare. By applying that particular methodology on that existing work in terms of the solar energy, what result he finds, and based on identified results, how he conclude his particular research. So these particular aspects of the solar energy technology will be considered as the original research or original findings. Now, the most important question here is that any of the research scholar or like any of the academician knows the value or the importance of this particular question, that why writing a research paper is important. Because as we know that, as I said earlier, like most of the institutions, managements and universities are demanding that every faculty should write research papers. They should do the research. They should work on some innovative things, present their research into different conferences, reputed conferences and journals. And based on that, that institution or that particular university wants to upgrade their repo in terms of or competing with these different apex bodies like NBA, NAC, or like NIRF ranking, right? So this from this perspective, why writing the research paper is important. That so there are two perspectives are there. As we know, if we just take example of any of the academician, then there are two types of academicians, I can say. One type of academician is like he want to just uh, write a research paper. He wants to just publish that particular research paper and he will keep quiet. Why? Because of the burden or pressure which has given by the institution or his higher authorities. That is one type of academician, I can say. Another type of academician is like he is a passionate, he's having his own interest in doing the research. He's always identifying, always thinking and identifying where there is a scope for doing or identifying or making some innovative research. And from that mind, from that perspective, he is writing the research paper and publishing that research paper into the different conferences and journals. So these two types of academicians are there. One is due to the pressure, due to the burden of the that particular institution or that higher authority, he is writing the research paper and publishing it. Another type of academician is like he is a passionate, he is having his own interest. So with his own interest, he's working on that particular work, on that particular topic or that particular domain. And with his own, he's writing the papers and publishing it. So by considering both type of academicians, the reasons behind writing the research paper is that it enhances the technical knowledge and problem solving skills. So by default, if any researcher or any academician is working on a particular task, who is working on a particular domain or a particular topic or a particular problem, then definitely while performing the research, his technical knowledge will be definitely increased. And also it helps in solving the different problems, technical problems, right? Different problem solving skills he can earn or he can learn from that particular research. Second reason is that it improves the communication and writing skills, because we know that while making a publication of any research paper in the conference or in the journal, then the most important thing which matters for consideration of the research work for publication is that the writing skills or whatever the contents that we have included in our research paper or in the draft of our paper is most important. So definitely this particular work of writing research paper will improve the communication and writing skills also. Like for example, student is publishing on IoT application, which will definitely increase the credibility in the job applications. Like if any BTech student, if we consider, and whatever project he has done in his final year as a capstone project, and after completion of that project, if that project work or the results he want to present or publish somewhere in conference or in the journal, then based on that he can write or he can convert the practical approach of that project into the draft, into the document in terms of the research paper, and he can publish it. Suppose he take his particular project is based on the IoT applications or IoT domain, then definitely that student's credibility will be increased and it will help that student in getting the job opportunities. So these are some of the reasons behind why the writing research paper is important. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is that most of us are very much of aware and scared that why my research paper is rejected. Because nowadays, if we see uh, whatever the Scopus journals or some elsewhere journals or Web of Science, SCI journals are making the reviews very rigorous. These are some of the common reasons that I have identified behind that our research paper, which we have applied, we have submitted to any journal or conference is rejected. These are 11, 12 reasons are there. So we need to learn that how I can overcome our work by removing or by reducing the reasons behind our research paper is rejected. The first reason why our research work is rejected or paper is rejected is that poor questions. Means whatever the problem statement or whatever the problem we have identified, that objectives of that problem are not up to the mark or not much. They are not having the innovative things, or like what we can say, like there is no any kind of a novelty is there in our problem. So whatever the question we have chosen, whatever the problem statement we have chosen is not up to the mark. So the paper lacks a clear and well defined research question or objectives. Every research paper, if we see any of the research paper, then the objectives in that research paper is the heart of that research paper. I will say, like as the in the human body, the heart is mattering, or heart is the main part or main important and key part of our human body. So in the same manner here, in every research paper, whatever the objectives which are mentioned in the paper are nothing but it's the heart of that particular research paper. So we need to be very careful at the time of identifying or preparing our objectives of our research should be clear and well defined. So ensure that your research question is specific, focused, and relevant to your domain or your field. Second reason is that poor methods. So whatever the methodology that we have mentioned in terms of like architecture or like any of the algorithm that we have introduced, so that methodology section is poor. Due to that, the chances of rejection of our research paper is more. So The research design is inappropriate for the question or the methodology lacks with the rigor. So due to that, the most of the journals, most of the conferences rejects our paper. So we should use well-established research methods or methodologies and clearly explain our design, sample, and whatever the data set or data that we have used for performing our research. So these things we should be very careful. Then third reason is insufficient literature. So we know that while doing any research, it is necessary and mandatory that we should refer at least 10 to 15 different research papers which are published in very recent years. Like suppose today, if I want to work on a particular research paper or any of the work, then I should study last 2 to 3 years of research papers only. So literature, whatever survey, whatever the existing study that you have done should be very careful. The paper does not adequately review the existing literature or it fails to establish the research gap. So here the reason behind rejection of the paper is that whatever references or whatever the survey that we have done is not properly mentioned there, or the quantity of the survey that we have done will be very less. Due to that only, the rejection of the research paper will be more, or chances of rejection of the paper will be more. So we should conduct a thorough review and explicitly state how our work contributes in that particular field. So that should be reflected into our literature. Means why our research or whatever the research we have done is important. That should be replicated into the literature part. So this is the third reason. Then next reason is lack of novelty. So as I said in the first reason, that whatever the objectives that we have identified and we have worked, we have done work on that particular objectives. So it is not up to the mark. So the study does not add new knowledge or insights to the field. So whatever the work that we have done should be novel. Until and unless the work is novel, no any journal editor will accept your work. No any conference organizer or convener will approve your work or consider your work. So we should be very careful at the time of identifying the objectives and working on those objectives, and it should be replicated in terms of the novelty. So you should highlight the unique contributions of your research and explain why this work is significant. So in terms of the novelty, we need to be very careful that whatever work that we have presented, we have included into our paper should be novel. Next reason is inappropriate theory. So whatever the contents that we have written into our research paper are not sufficient. So due to that also, the rejection of the paper is more. Next is flawed data analysis. So whatever data sets we have identified, whatever data sets we have chosen, whatever data analysis that we have done, whatever methods that we are used into the data analysis are not appropriate. Those are not that much of sufficient, or those methods are not explained in a proper manner. So we should be work on this data analysis, processing on the data, then making the analysis of that data, and whatever data set that we have chosen should be relevant and sufficient. So that care we need to take. Next reason is that poor write-up. So in terms of the communication skill, in terms of the grammatical things, in terms of the proper language, and in terms of the organization of the paper. So that is also one of the reason behind rejection of our research paper. So whatever work we have written into the paper, whatever the contents we have included in the paper should be properly proofreaded. It should be checked with any of the expert in English communication, or it should be properly proofreaded with the help of like different recent AI tools like Grammarly or Quillbot. So many such AI tools are available today for improving our or proofreading our research material. So that help we can take to resolve this particular problem. Next reason is guidelines of the journal. So what generally we do, suppose if we have written a paper and we are going with submitting our research paper to different journals, then you know that every journal is having their own templates or own formats. So we need to be very careful while submitting our paper. Like generally we prepare our research paper in IEEE standard IEEE format, right? But earlier it was considerable, but since last few years, every journal has defined their own framework, own format, and own template. So each journal template is different. So while preparing our paper, we need to be careful that we need to check the format of or template of that particular journal, what type of template they are expecting the content should be fitted. Accordingly, we need to rework on the paper and we need to fit our contents of our paper into that journal format or that journal template. Then and then only we can submit. Otherwise, if any of the journal is getting the template in terms of like a Springer format, and if we try to submit our paper in IEEE format to that journal, then within a very less amount of time, the editor of that journal will directly reject your paper without sending it for the review. So that care we should take. Whatever the guidelines that journal has given, we need to read the guidelines given by the journal. We need to follow the guidelines properly, and accordingly, we need to proceed to submit the paper to that journal. Next reason is unsupported results. So whatever the results that we generate from our work are not properly supported or which are not aligned with the research statement or our objectives. And also the conclusion is not properly fitted or properly relevant to the results. So that care also we need to take, that everything should be in line. Whatever methodology is used, whatever results are identified, whether those results are fulfilling the needs of the objectives or not, that should be properly defined. So that care also we need to take. Then some ethical concerns are there, like research may have ethical issues like lack of informed consent or undisclosed conflicts of interest. So here, in terms of the contract, we can say, or in terms of the ethics of the research, we need to be very careful. Then next reason is poor implications and inadequate citations. So these are some of the 11, 12 reasons are there. Due to that only, our research work is rejected by the journal or the conference convener. Now, there are some, we can categorize the research into different types. So here I have mentioned some different types of research papers. First is the technical research paper. So what type of research work or research papers are considered as a technical research papers? Which the work which discuss an innovative engineering solutions. Whatever the papers or whatever the work which discuss or which tells about the innovative engineering solutions, those papers can be categorized as the technical papers. Then second type of research paper is survey papers. So survey papers specifically reviews the existing literature or existing work on a particular topic. Those all papers will be considered as the survey papers. So specifically whatever the existing work has been done, means traditional work has been done. So we as a researcher will study that existing work, and on a particular topic, I will study the existing work, and based on that, I will summarize it. That what existing technology is telling, what are its pros, what are its cons, or where there is an opportunity to enhance the existing work. So this all kind of things will be considered as the survey paper. There is a difference, survey paper and research paper, or survey paper and technical paper. There is a difference. So that we need to be considered. Survey paper is purely based on the existing work, studying the existing work and preparing the summary of it. The next type of research is research paper is the experimental research. So this experimental research is totally based on the lab or field experiments. Means, for example, if you take example of the civil engineer, if a civil engineer works on a particular field, he will visit a particular site. After studying that site, he will perform some experiment on the site, and after performing some experiments on that particular site, he will find some results. So this work can be considered as the experimental research work. It is specifically based on the lab work or lab results or field results, lab experiments or field experiments. Specifically, this experimental research work is having opportunity in performing the research in physics or chemistry or like chemical engineering or like mechanical or civil engineering. So those domain or those stream academicians can go with the experimental research, because specifically relevant material or relevant devices are available, and based on use of those devices and those machineries, they can perform the experiment on a particular topic and they can find some results and they can publish it into the journals or conferences. The next type of research is the review papers. So the review paper summarizes the advancements in the field. Like for example, today we are saying like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, blockchain technology. These all are the advanced technologies are introduced in last 2 to 3 years of duration, right? So whatever the advanced technologies are introduced, whatever the advanced research has been done, so studying that advanced research field or studying that advanced field research, just making the summarize of it, those papers are considered as the review papers. For example, like a review of AI in healthcare engineering. AI is the advanced technology, and how that advanced AI technology is helping or doing the making the help to healthcare engineering. How this AI technology is performing the role, important or key role in the healthcare sector. So making the review of this AI in healthcare engineering can be considered as the review paper. So likewise, these are some of the types of the research papers. Whatever the research papers that we write, that we publish, will be categorized into this 4 category. The next thing is about understanding the research process. So as a blank person, we can say, or as a person who doesn't know anything about the research, so such person, how he will start, how he will gear up with doing the research, means since scratch. Suppose any of the academician doesn't know anything or any of the scholar doesn't know anything about the research, then how he will start or how he will enter into this research field. So based on that, these 4 things we need to understand. First one is identify the research problem. Identifying research problem is the challenging task, I can say, because I while writing a research papers now, it's very challenging. Like the most challenging task in the research is that identifying the problem, right? That is a challenging task. It takes a lot of time to identify the problem statement or research problem. I can say like if any of the academician or researcher is requires 10 months of duration to complete the research work, then out of these 10 months, at least 2 to 2.5 months he will take to identify the problem. So the importance of identifying the research problem is the key factor in any of the research. Then second is about conducting the literature review. Once you identify the research problem, once you identify the objectives of your work, based on that, you can go with the next step, that is making the review survey of the existing work related to our problem. After conducting the literature review, next one is design the methodology and collect the necessary data. Once you identified with the problem, once you complete the literature survey, then based on the problem, based on the survey, you can design your own methodology or own technology about how to identify the solution on the problem, how to achieve the objectives that you have defined in the problem statement. And for that, you can design your methodology in terms of the architecture, in terms of any algorithm, or in terms of any mathematical expressions you can prepare. And accordingly, you can collect the necessary data, which will be required for performing your research work. So data you can take in terms of like data sets. There are many kind of data sets are available. Some data sets are available with freely, like on the Kaggle or like on UCI machine learning repository. Many type of data sets in many fields are available easily, which are freely available, that we can take for the demonstration purpose for performing our work. Next step is analyze the results and write the findings. So once you defined with the methodology, once you identified the data sets, then you can process on that particular data. You can find the results. Whatever results are obtained, those results you need to analyze it, making the analysis of it. And based on analyzed results, you can write the findings or outcomes of that particular research or outcomes of that particular problem. So these four steps are most important in any of the research process or any of the research paper. Like for example, studying the structural integrity of 3D printed bridges can be one of the example. If we consider this as one problem statement, then based on this problem statement, I can set some 2 to 3 objectives. After setting the objectives, based on these objectives, I can make the survey. I can study the existing technologies available or existing work that has been done in these 3D printed bridges. Accordingly, I will complete with the literature survey. After completing literature survey, I will design my own methodology. I will set one algorithm, or I will prepare the architecture, some mathematical expressions or some formulas I will add. And based on that, I will collect the data sets which are uh, relevant with these 3D printed bridges. And after that, I will analyze the results, find the results, making analysis of it, and I will write the findings. So likewise, through these 4 steps, we can go with the research work. So as I said that it's a challenging task about how to choose the research topic. So there are different, what I can say, like there are different options through which I can choose a research topic. Here I have included 3 different sites through which you can identify or choose your topic. The first one is the current trends. Whatever the existing or new technologies are introduced, so you can refer it as one of the option for choosing your research topic. Like for example, AI in electrical engineering, AI in healthcare, AI in agriculture, etc. So because these are the advanced trends are there. So based on the advanced trends, based on the advanced technologies, you can select your topic. Second option or second alternative is that about the practical applications. Suppose I want to do a research, suppose I want to prepare a research paper based on the practical applications, like for example, water purification using nanotechnology. This is the practical application, right? Means whatever the work that we are going to do, that work should be done in a practical manner, right? Some input should be given, then verification and validation and experimentations will be happen in that, and some results will be obtained. So whatever results are obtained, those results will be get compared with the existing technologies, and we can reach to the conclusion that whatever experimentation, whatever practical that we have done or practical work that we have done is enhancing the or improving the performance of the technology. So based on that, we can choose the topic in practical applications also. Then third option is, or third alternative is based on the literature gaps. So this is a common thing that every or most of the academician goes with this third alternative, that is literature gaps. What exactly this literature gap is? Unstudied factors in the wind energy generation. One example is given. So wind energy is nowadays it has become old, right? Because since last 15 to 20 years back, many research has been happened in the wind energy, right? But the uh, advancement in the wind technology, that is continuously growing, right? If we take example about 20 years back, when that wind energy was introduced first, that time it was new technology, advanced technology, right? So whatever the methods or whatever the methodologies were used 20 years back are now backdated, right? Many innovations are happened in last 20 years of duration. Many advancement has happened in the in the traditional work, and newly continuously regularly those technologies are upgraded, and wind energy generation has done lot of improvements, and what we can say like lot of advancements has been done in the wind energy generation, right? So based on the existing work that we study, we'll study it properly in terms of like comparative manner. We will identify the gap where there is a scope for improvement, right? Suppose XYZ technology, we are going to work in that. And based on that XYZ technology, whatever existing work has been done, that we will study, that we will analyze. We will try to find out the gaps, or we will try to find out the challenges in those traditional techniques or technologies. So such challenges we will identify. And after that, we will introduce something new to overcome those existing challenges. So that problem statement can be considered based on these literature gaps. So these are the three alternatives through which you can select your research topic and you can go ahead. First one is the advanced trends. Second one is the practical applications. And third one is based on the existing or literature gaps. So while conducting the literature review, how we will do the review or literature review? So there are many such sites are available today on Google. One is the Google Scholar, then IEEE Explore, Science Direct, Web. These are some of the sources are there through which we can find out the research work that particular related with that particular technology. We will download it, we will read it out, we will study it, and based on that, we can conduct the literature survey. Similar to that, some advanced research sources or reliable sources are like ResearchGate, Springer, Wiley, Scopus, etc. These are some of the databases are there through which we can fetch the different research, relevant research papers. We can study it, and based on that, we can introduce our new problem statement, right? So for example, finding the papers on battery storage for renewable energy. Suppose we want to make a research work on the battery storage for the renewable energy, then related to this particular topic, related to this particular contents, we can find out some research papers, existing research papers through these different reliable resources, and we can download it, we can study it, and we can introduce our own idea, own objectives. Now, while finding the reliable sources, only use the peer-reviewed journals and credible sources. So here, most of us are very much of reliable nowadays on Google and like ChatGPT, we can say, right? But we should be very careful that while finding the reliable sources, we need to somewhat filter out the contents while downloading or while studying the contents in terms of finding the sources through peer reviewed journals and some credible or standard resources. So that care we should take. What things we should avoid while collecting the reliable sources? We should avoid the contents which are available through blogs or through Wikipedia and some unverified preprints. We should try to avoid such contents which are available on blogs or which are available on Wikipedia or some unauthorized or unverified preprints. Okay, because that work is not, whatever the opinions which are mentioned in the blog or Wikipedia are not that much of standard, we can say, or like these are not authenticated. That's why we should avoid the such sites to collect the data or finding the reliable sources. Now, the next thing is that while preparing the research paper, how our research paper structure should, how the structure of our research paper should be. These are the 7 points that I have mentioned here. Every research paper should consider this sequence or these contents or these, what you can say, like fonts should be available in every research paper. First one is the abstract, then introduction, literature review, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion, and references. This is the standard sequence of every research paper. No matter that paper we are submitting for IEEE journal, that paper we are submitting for Scopus journal or Web of Science journal or any of the journal or any conference also. Every research paper should include these 7 points compulsorily. This is the standard sequence or standard template of the research paper. Now, this diagram is representing while conducting the effective research, how the structure of our paper should be. This graph is growing from downwards from 1 to 8. Means the start of the paper should be started with the abstract, and the conclusion or the end of our research paper will be completed with the references. So while growing with this point number 1 to point number 8, what content should be included? What should be there in the abstract? What should be there in the introduction section? What should be there in the literature review? What content should be there in the methodology? What content should be there in the result and discussion? And what content should come under this conclusion? That is very important. Now, see this diagram. This is the anatomy of a research paper. It's a kind of a fish model. The structure is looking like a fish, right? So this fish is having the structure in a proper manner, right? If you consider the structure of the fish, then immediately we will come to know that how the structure of the fish is. The fish is having the head and fish is having the tail. The structure, or that what we can say, the scenario of that particular fish is looking like this. Okay, so here the first part, the mouth of this fish is considered as the abstract. The size of the size of the mouth of fish, if you look, then it's a small, right? The mouth of the fish is a small part or small organ of the fish body, right? But that mouth of that fish is the most important or heart of that particular fish, right? Because whatever things that fish will wants to perform, he will perform his all the most of the activities through the mouth only, right? So similar to that, in every research paper, the most important part of the research paper is the abstract, right? And the size of this abstract should be small as this fish's mouth is. So what thing should come under this abstract section? Under this abstract, the problem statement should come. What methodology that you have used for performing your research should come. Some summary about the results and findings should come, and some conclusion part about the research work should come. So these 4 important points should be covered under the abstract in a short manner. This word is very important. Short manner. It's not like an essay. In a short way, the problem statement part should come. In a small way, the methodology part will come. In smart way, the summary or results and findings will come, and some conclusive part of the result should come under this abstract. The size of the abstract in research paper should not exceed 150 to 200 words. The standard size of the abstract should not exceed 200 words. It should be 150 to 200 words max. Now, once you prepare with the abstract, second part is the introduction. Now, see the diagram. The introduction part is quite more, right? Like throat of that particular fish. The size, if you compare the size of that fish, then its size is more or higher than the mouth of the fish. So the introduction section should have some more contents. What things will cover under, or what things will come under this introduction section? First, literature review. That is what exactly the problem is, what challenges are there, what is unknown things, and what is known things are there, and what is your aim and hypothesis. So these many things should cover under this introduction section. Literature survey will also come under this introduction section. So while preparing the literature survey, whatever the most relevant research papers that you have referred should mentioned in the literature survey section. Then once the introduction part is done, next one is the methodology. So in this diagram, if you see, the part of this methodology section is a big part of that fish, right? So the contents which are mentioned in the methodology should be more, because the methodology section is the most higher or most bigger part of the research paper. So what things should come under this methodology section? Study design, study population, what data source did you see, what are the risk factors are there in terms of the outcomes, and what are the statistical analysis and algorithms, in terms of algorithms, in terms of some mathematical formulas, in terms of some technical steps, in terms of the architecture. So all these technical aspects should come under this methodology section. Once the methodology section is completed, as I said, that methodology section is the biggest part of the research paper. Next part to come, that is the results and discussion. Under these results, the size of these results is quite similar with the introduction part. Means if the introduction that you have mentioned is about 1.5 page, then result should be also mentioned in terms of 1.5 page to 2 pages of size, but not exceed with the methodology, right? While presenting your results, while including your results, mostly you prefer with presenting your research in a graphical form, right? It should improve the look. It should improve the, what we can say, the quality of your paper. If you mentioned or if you presented your results in terms of the graphs, in terms of the plotted graphs, in terms of the plotted charts, in terms of the comparative tables, right? These are the different options you can take for preparing or presenting your results into the research paper. So what things you will mention under results? That what did you find out? What are your primary and secondary findings, and data representation in tables and figures. So these many things should come under this result section. Next one is the discussion section. Under this discussion section, an interpretation and contextualization of the study findings in relation with the existing knowledge. Here we should mention our comparative results. What existing or what traditional technologies are there, and how those traditional technologies are overcome with our new technology. That should be mentioned in terms of the significance, in terms of the implications, in terms of the accuracy, in terms of the performance, right? You should discuss the results of your work in comparison with the existing work. Once you complete with the discussion section, next part comes, that is conclusion. So if you look the size of that fish under this, which is allotted for the conclusion, is again small. Means the size of abstract can be equal to size of the conclusion. Means not more than 150 to 200 words it should exceed. Okay. The take home message, we say conclusion is the total summarization of your research, that is considered as the conclusion. The final remarks, we can say, that should come under this conclusion. Means after studying or after implementing this particular technology, I reached to the conclusion that this technology will improve the performance or accuracy of XYZ techniques. And if there is some opportunity to enhance this existing technology, can be also mentioned as a future enhancement or future scope. So that part should be mentioned in 150 to 200 words only, not more than that. One paragraph is sufficient for conclusion. And last part is the references. So there is no limit for the references. Whatever number of research papers that you have referred, those all references should come under this references section. So whatever this diagram or the structure of our research that we have discussed, it is defined in some quite detailed manner in this particular table. So I will just skip it. Now, let's come to the part about how we can write the abstract. So as I said, that 100 to 200, 150 to 200, 250 words is the summary of the paper that come under this abstract. It should include research problem, methodology, and results. Once the abstract is done, you should identify some keywords, which are like short forms or phrases that we should mention under this. Keywords are specifically used for identifying our research paper by the third party person while searching related to our work. So these keywords will help that researcher or that third party person to fetch your work with the help of these keywords. So don't forget to include the keywords, and the size or count of the keywords in each paper should not exceed 7. Minimum 5 to maximum 7 keywords we can mention in our research paper. Then while writing the introduction should provide the background information, some hypothesis kind of thing should come, the related to that particular domain, related to that particular problem, related to that particular topic. Some background history, background information should come under this introduction part, and explain the significance of the research, why this research in this particular domain, in this particular topic is important. That should be also explained, why there is a necessity, right? Because until and unless there is necessity, there is no use of any of the work. So the significance and the necessity of our work should be mentioned in the, or it should be described in the introduction section. And outline of the research objectives, some outline kind of objectives of our research should also mentioned in the introduction. Then while formatting the problem statement, we should define the research gap. We should clearly define the research gap, where the challenges are there, how those challenges can be overcome, and what objectives can be defined to overcome those challenges or those problems. So it should be clearly defined in the research gap. For example, existing methods for detecting the structural damage in bridges lack the real-time monitoring. Means here, the academician or that researcher has clearly defined the problem, that while detecting or existing methods are available while detecting the structural damage in bridges due to lack of time monitoring, real-time monitoring. So here the problem statement is clearly mentioned. So in this way, we should formulate the problem statement. That should be specific, clear, and it should be easily understandable to the person. So while writing the literature review, how we can write this literature review? We can summarize the past research or existing work on that particular topic. We are summarizing in the literature review. Nowadays, it is a good thing that while preparing the literature review, we are preparing the literature review in table format, right? And specifically the table format or the column should like the research paper title, then author details, then domain, then what you can say like methodology used, then applications and limitations. So these 5 to 6 columns we can prepare whatever number of research papers that we have referred. We should mention the detail of each research paper in that particular table, and we can prepare our literature survey or literature review. So better to prepare the comparative based table from survey is more effective. So the reviewer will be happy, or reviewer will be clearly understand. He will clearly understand that how the author or that researcher has done his literature review. If the review is written in a comparative table manner or comparative table form. So while explaining the methodology, what care should be taken? Describe the experimental setup, simulation, or case study. So remember that while explaining the methodology, so that time first you need to describe or you need to write something about how experimental setup you have done. The experimental setup will arise with any hardware things or any software related thing, any technology that you have used or any algorithm, any devices you have used. The way you have set up your experimentation while doing this or while completing this research should mentioned in the methodology section. Then how you have done the simulation, that also come under this methodology section, and one example case study also you can mention related to your work. Next part should come about architecture. Architecture is must specifying complete flow of the proposed work. So every research paper must have architecture, because architecture plays a key role, a vital role in explaining the flow of our research, flow of our proposed work in a diagrammatic form. So every research paper must include the architecture under this methodology section. Then also you can include some pseudocode or algorithm. That is also good option in including in the methodology section. So you can also think on it, the pseudocode, not actual code, I am telling, the pseudocode in terms of like our own description, whatever the steps that we have mentioned, those steps we can include into the methodology section. Or if we have prepared any algorithm, step-by-step algorithm, if we have prepared logically, which should be logically correct. So that algorithm part also you can include under this methodology section, and you can prepare your own methodology. Under this methodology section, also you can include some logical things, some probability kind of things, some mathematical formulas also, some mathematical expressions also you can include in the methodology section. Means all the technical aspects, all the technical content should come under this methodology section, because we have a bigger scope in the for the methodology. Because in the diagram, in fish diagram that we have seen, like most bigger part in the research paper is the methodology section. Okay. Next one is presenting results and discussions. So once you complete with the methodology, then while once you find out the results, so presenting those results is also very important here nowadays. So while presenting the results, you can betterly use the plotted graphs, charts, and tables, comparative tables. So these are some of the options through which you can go and present your research, which should be looks more effective and which should satisfy the reviewer's satisfaction. For the satisfaction of the reviewer, better you present your results in terms of the plotted graphs or like charts or like comparative tables or any of the design way you can present your results. Results should be comparative based to traditional methods or work. So as I said earlier, like whatever the work that you have done, it should be comparative and it should compare with the existing work, so that some difference or some what we can say, some new things will be you can demand, or that reviewer should understand that how your work is more effective in terms of the existing work. So try to present the results in terms of the comparative manner with the existing work. It can be shown in terms of accuracy or performance point of view also. So there are many such parameters are there for comparison purpose, like accuracy is there, performance is there, in terms of complexity is there, in terms of the productivity is there, in terms of time is there. So there are many such parameters are there which will be help in comparison of the existing, in comparison with the new technology with the existing technology. So from that perspective also you can present your results and discussion. Then while presenting the data or whatever data set that you have taken for your work and what processing that you are going to apply, you are going to provide to find some results. So related to that data analysis techniques in the engineering research, if we see, then you can use the statistical analysis tools like MATLAB or Python or SPSS. There are some of the statistical analysis tools are there which are available. Those we can refer, and accordingly it will help us to make the analysis of the data, right, and finding some what we can say like expected or accurate information from that particular data. We can use these different statistical analysis tools. Nowadays MATLAB is the one of the topmost tool, analysis tool is there, which most of the researcher or most of the academicians are working with this MATLAB, and it is also easy to work on it. And whatever the features that MATLAB provides are very good in terms of the research point of view. Once the results and discussions are defined, next is the conclusion, writing the conclusion and the future work. You can, while preparing the conclusion, you can summarize the key findings and suggest some future enhancements. It should be separate, conclusion and future scope. Conclusion should be separate and future scope should be written in 2 to 3 statements in a separate way. Then conclusion should not exceed 120 words. It should be between 100 to 120 words with one paragraph is sufficient. Future scope can be up to 50 words maximum or in a single paragraph. 2 to 3 statements are sufficient for the future scope. So this care we need to take. If you write the conclusion in 100 words and if you write future scope in 400 words, then there is a problem, right? Because whatever work that we have done, that work we are concluding with 100 words, and whatever future enhancements are there that we are suggesting in 500 words. It means that there is something problem. So that care we need to take. After the conclusion and future work we have defined, next one is the reference. Referencing and the citation styles. So generally we used to use the format for presenting the references in a standard IEEE format. We can also use some tools like Mendeley, EndNote, Zotero, right? There are different referencing styles are there, citation styles are there. One example is given here, like standard IEEE, like in a square bracket, first reference if we are mentioning, then name of the authors, then title of the paper, then where that paper is published or presented, and year of that particular paper. This is the standard IEEE format for representing the references into the research paper. Once the draft of the paper is completed, the next important task is about checking the plagiarism and avoiding the plagiarism with ethical considerations. So use the plagiarism checker tools like Turnitin or Grammarly or Quillbot or like many such tools are available. Plagiarism tools are available. Nowadays, it is mandatory, it is necessary that AI plag should not exceed 10%. AI plag and general plag should not exceed with 10% because nowadays the use of this AI and chat GPT is increased and many people are misusing those AI tools. They are ready-madely, they are finding the contents and they include those chat GPT contents into their research paper and they are trying to publish their contents in different journals. So for that, they have used just a minute, I'm sorry. Hello. Hello. मी फोन करतो परत थांब. Sorry for interrupt. And nowadays, this is a big challenge. Many academicians and researchers copied the contents from the chat GPT, and they include those contents as it is into the paper, and they submit their paper to different conferences and journals. So this is not ethical, it's completely unethical, because whatever the contents that we fetch from the chat GPT, those contents are already prepared, already available on the web. Those contents are already searched by third party person, and we are taking those content as it is, and we are representing those contents with our own name. This is completely unethical. So we need to be very careful while including the contents, including the data into our paper in terms of the plagiarism, because it is completely unethical. So we should use with the different flag check tools like Turnitin or Grammarly or like Urkund. Many such tools are available. Standard tools we should go, and we can check the plagiarism while submitting our research paper to any of the journal or conference. Whatever the research papers that you have referred, we should cite those papers properly into our paper, so that it should not increase the plagiarism into our paper. So citing of particular paper with that particular author, whoever he will be, is the prime important thing to avoid the plagiarism. Once the plagiarism part is completed, next important part is about proofreading and editing. So that part already I have discussed. We should review the grammatical things, coherence, and any technical accuracy related things should be properly proofreaded. Here we can make use of AI tools like Grammarly, Quillbot. So those tools help us to proofread our work, proofread our contents, right? But in that, while using it, also we need to be very careful, because there may be possibility of rewriting. While rewriting the contents, there may possible that the meaning of the statements or meaning of our idea may be changed, while Grammarly will generate or rewrite the sentences. So that time there is a possibility of changing the meaning of a particular contents may be possible. So from that perspective also, we need to be very careful while proofreading our work, proofreading our paper into through these different AI tools like Grammarly. Then we can use professional editing tools like Grammarly or Hemingway Editor, Quillbot, etc. Many such AI tools are available nowadays, but we should be very careful that it should not change the meaning of the work. That care should be taken. Then, while preparing the figures, graphs, tables, etc., means all diagram related things, we should ensure that figures are clear and well labeled. Generally, what the academician do, he search a particular diagram on Google, he copy that diagram as it is and paste it into the paper. This is not ethical, right? You can refer this diagram for your reference only. Based on this diagram which you are referring, you design your own diagram with different design tools are there, like Dia, or even if like Paint also, or like different Star UML, right? These are many such design tools are available. You refer the existing the diagram that you have taken from the Google, you refer it. Based on that, you design your own diagram and include that diagram into the paper, so that each diagram, each figure will be should be clearly visible, clearly understandable. It should be readable, and it is well labeled also. So that we should ensure while preparing the figures, graphs, and tables into our paper. Some common mistakes we should avoid in the research writing, like unclear research objectives. So very first I told the reason behind rejection of the paper is the uncleared objectives. Whatever objective that we have included should be clear and it should be concise. It should be easily understandable. So unclear research objective should be avoided. Poorly structured sections. Each section that we discussed, like abstract, methodology, literature survey, results, findings, conclusion, references. These are the sections of the research paper. So each section should be properly written or properly structured as per the format, as per the template of the journal. So we should avoid the poor structured sections. Next is we should avoid the excessive language. Try to take the language, standard language, which is universally acceptable, that is English. Whatever contents which we have included into our research paper should be in a single language, like in English only. For example, avoid overly complex equations without explanation. If you want to include some equations into the paper, then also you should be ensure that the expressions or these equations should be in English form only, not in any of the other different symbols should be included in that. Okay. Now the next thing is that how to select the right journal. So once you prepared with your research paper, the next important part starts. That is, I'm ready with the paper and I want to publish my prepared paper into the quality journal, like in Scopus journal or like in Web of Science journal or like in IEEE journals, right? So how you can select the right journals? Because on Google, many journals are available, thousands, lakhs of journals are available. Out of these thousands and lakhs of journals, how you will identify the proper journal, which is fitting with your scope of your paper, which is fitting with the work of your research work. The first important thing is that you check the impact factor of the journal. Each journal is having its own impact factor. That impact factor you need to check. You need to find out the journal which is having good impact factor. Like for example, above 0.5. Whatever journals which are having impact factor more than 0.5 are quite good journals or quality journals, we can say. Once you find the impact factor, next thing is that you need to check the scope of that journal. Means whatever work we have done. Suppose, for example, I have done work on data mining domain. And I identified one journal which is purely based on the networking domain. Then my data mining work is not fitting with the scope of this networking. So that scope I need to check. Right? If the journal scope is in the networking and I have prepared my research paper in data mining, then how I can submit my research paper to that networking journal? No. We need to identify the journals which are relevant with the scope of the data mining or big data. So that scope is also playing an important role while selecting the right journal. And next important thing is about the indexing. After identifying the journal, after identifying the impact factor and the scope of the journal, you need to check indexing of that journal. Either that journal is UGC Care, either that journal is Google Scholar, either that journal is in Scopus Index, either that journal is Web of Science ESCI journal, either that journal is IEEE journal, right? So indexing of the journal is also very important, right? Because if you are having target of making the research paper publication in Scopus journal, then indexing of that journal should be in Scopus and it should be active in the Scopus. Nowadays, it's a very critical thing that Scopus is removing the journals after every 3 months. Means Scopus database is updating after every 3 months. Thousands of journals it is including in the Scopus database, and thousands of journal it is thrown out from the Scopus database. So that care we need to be taken. For example, like IEEE transactions for electrical engineering papers. So the scope of this particular journal is about the electrical engineering. Maybe the domain of that electrical engineering may be EV, or like maybe like any signal processing, right? So those scope related papers can be submitted for publication into this particular journal. So every journal, based on its name, the scope is different. So we need to be check with the scope, impact factor, and indexing of that journal. Then impact factor. What exactly this impact factor? As I said, that if the journal is having impact factor more than 0.5, then that journal can be considered as a good journal or quality journal. How the impact factor is calculated? The impact factor is calculated based on the number of citations that journal has received in previous years or previous year publications. If that journal has published 100 research papers in last year, and for 100 papers, suppose in last 1 year, that for 100 papers 200 citations are received to that journal, then the impact factor will be calculated based on number of citations received divided by number of papers published by the journal. So that will be the impact factor of the journal. Means if any journal has published 100 papers in 1 year, and for those 100 papers, if 200 citations in 1 year are received, then 200 divided by 100, that is 2. 2 will be the impact factor of that particular journal. Right? So impact factor is the most important part or quality metric of that particular journal. So you should look with the impact factor of Scopus, Web of Science, Springer, IEEE, and elsewhere databases. There are many journals are there, common general journals are there, which are having registration fee is like 2,000 or 105,000, or like 1,500 or like 1,000. And they are saying ki their impact factor is 6.8, 7.9, 10.5, 6.2. These all are the fake impact factors are there. Impact factor is calculated based on these quality databases like Scopus, Web of Science, Clarivate, Springer, IEEE. So you should be very careful about understanding the impact factor and indexing of that journal. As the journal is having higher impact factor, the credibility of that journal is higher. As much as the impact factor value is higher, that much of credibility that journal will have, that much of quality that journal is having, right? Now, the next thing is that how we find the peer-reviewed or quality journals, engineering, specifically for engineering. There are some of the directories which are freely available on the web. First one is the Elsewhere Journal Finder. On Google directly, you can put this Elsewhere Journal Finder, and the site of Elsewhere will be open. In that site, you can mention some keywords related with your research work, and through these keywords, you can find out the relevant scope journals which are there available in the Elsewhere database. The next one is directory is the IEEE Explore. So on IEEE Explore also, by giving the keywords related to your work, you can find out the research papers in IEEE Explore. Then Web of Science Journal Finder is also there. So on this journal directory, you can find out different journals which are indexed in the Web of Science or SCI. Then Scopus Content Search is also one of the journal directory. So through this directory also you can find out the Scopus index journal. The next one is the understanding the peer review process. So many of us are not aware about that, how the review of the research paper is carried out. Who do the review of our research paper if we submit it to a particular journal? The people who are expert in a particular domain, the people from India or abroad, they are also human, but they are expert in that particular domain. So the journal is having connects. The journal editors are having connects with those expert people in that particular field. Based on those experts, when we submit our research paper to that journal, the first of all, the reviewer, first of all, the editor will go thoroughly into our paper. Will check the initial scrutiny at his own side. If he feels that whatever the work, whatever the paper is prepared is up to the mark as per the all quality check contents, then he sent the consent. The editor sent the consent along with the abstract to different expert reviewers through mail. If the reviewer is available and agree to review that work, then the reviewer will send the consent to the editor that, okay, I am ready to review this paper. That kind of consent he will send to the reviewer. Once the consent from the reviewer is received to the editor, then editor will send that paper for review to that reviewer. So generally at the time, reviewer send our research paper for review to 3 to 4 reviewers at a time. Suppose if the reviewer has sent our paper to 3 reviewers, so after sending the paper to the reviewer in his login through portal, some duration will be given to the reviewer to complete the review. Now the duration of doing the review is vary depending on journal to journal. If the journal is a free journal, then the reviewer assign the time of near about 3 months to 4 months for reviewing that paper to the reviewer. If the journal is paid journal, in some journals, reviewer may assign 2 months of duration for reviewing the paper. In some cases, the editor will assign the reviewer or he will give the time duration of 30 days. For some journals, the editor may assign 15 days or 20 days or 25 days of duration to complete the review. So the duration which is given to the reviewer is vary according to journal by journal. So every editor assigns some time duration to every reviewer, and editor try to match that calendar or duration to get the reviewer comments back from the reviewer. So a reviewer may ask for the additional experiment details also in that case. Sometimes if the reviewer feels that whatever the contents are available in the paper are not up to the mark, if you want to clarify some more contents, then accordingly the reviewer may demand it from the author. So this is the peer review processes. So as I said that if a paper is submitted to 3 reviewers by the editor, out of 3 reviewers, if 2 reviewers are ready to accept, and if one reviewer is saying that the paper is rejected or not fitting with our standards, then in that case, out of 3, 2 are agreeing, 1 is disagreeing, then the reviewer will send the acceptance to the reviewer along with the comments mentioned by the reviewer. The editor will send the acceptance to the authors. Suppose if out of 3 reviewers, 2 reviewers are replied with the decision, and if one reviewer is saying that paper can be accepted, out of 2, 1 is saying paper is accepted, 1 is saying paper is rejected. It's again here the possibility of 50-50 we can say. In such cases, reviewer assign one more reviewer, editor will assign our paper to one more reviewer. Now that third reviewer will start reviewing, he will complete the review, and if he say that paper can be accepted, then the editor will send our send the acceptance letter to us along with the detailed comments or detail. If he said about the revision into the paper, then such details will be sent to the author. So this whole process of peer review will be taken like from 6 months to 2 years also. It is again varying with journal to journal. So we can't give guarantee, we can't assure that how much of time duration will be required for completing the review or peer review process of journal, right? Generally, each journals are mentioning the average process time of completing the review on their own sites. So that care we should take key for which journal we should go ahead. If any of the journal is taking 1 year or 1.5 year of time duration for completing the review, then for such journals we never go, right? Because time is also very important. So from that perspective, we should identify such journals and we should go ahead. Next is how to format the paper as per the journal guidelines. We should, as I said, that every journal is having their own guidelines, own formats, own templates. So strictly we need to follow the template or that format. We don't have any option. They are not, the editors are not demanding us the research papers, right? We want the paper should be published or paper should be accepted. So we need to follow their rules. We need to follow their guidelines. Whatever template, whatever format they have given, accordingly only we need to submit the paper. So IEEE is having separate format, Springer is having separate format. IEEE is having 2-column format, Springer is having single column format. So accordingly, if the journal is IEEE or if the journal is Springer, accordingly we need to prepare our paper either in the 2-column format or single column format. There is no any other option available. While submitting the research paper, we need to write some cover letter for the submission. Under that cover letter, what things are expected? Explain why your research is important. We should tell in the cover letter that why our work is important, why it is unique, why it is important for in terms of the research. That should be mentioned in the cover letter while making the submission of our research work. Then how to respond to the reviewer comments. Suppose the reviewer has sent some revisions into our existing work, existing paper, then address each comment constructively. Suppose the reviewer has sent the 10 comments or 10 revisions, then for each revision, for each comment, we should tackle it separately. Means comment number 1, reviewer is saying this one. So for that comment, answer. Whatever response that you want to give, you mention. Then comment number 2, what comment that reviewer has suggested. Next, response to that comment, XYZ. Then next, comment number 3, response. Comment number 4, response. Comment number 10, response. Likewise, we should respond to the reviewer's comment in a table or in a proper way, so that the reviewer should understand that each and every comment which was given by him is properly tackled by the author and he has revised into the paper. So that care we need to take. Revising and resubmitting the paper, you should make the improvements and resubmit it. Whatever the suggestions given, whatever the revisions are given by the reviewer, accordingly, we should upgrade into the paper. We should make the necessary changes, improvements into the paper, and we need to resubmit the comments or resubmit the new paper to the journal. Dealing with the rejection and resubmission. So most of the time, what happens? Suppose if we apply our research paper in 5 journals, out of 5 journals, if we got rejection in 4 journals, then our what we can say, like sometimes we become very unhappy, right? We feel that कि अरे बाबा अपना कुछ हो सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता है, या फिर हम कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते हैं, या फिर मेरे को जमेगा या नहीं जमेगा. So this kind of mindset that it's a human tendency. No matter, everyone is having emotions. So from that emotions, we should think in that manner. But I will say that don't think from that perspective. Don't become like this one, this kind of thing. Like, don't take each and every rejection negatively, right? Consider this as an opportunity if our paper is rejected, because behind rejection of the paper, the journal tells the reason why your paper is rejected. So whatever the reasons that editor has told, the reviewers has told, we should work on those reasons. Based on the comments given, we should incorporate those comments into the paper. We should modify it accordingly. And again, we should submit that paper to other journal. So take this rejection as positive way, in positive manner. Apply those reasons into your paper. Make the necessary changes, modifications into the paper, and submit it to other journal. So this way it will help us to filter out our research paper in a strong way. And in the another journal, the chances of accepting will be more, right? Because जब हमें कोई बताएगा कि तेरे पेपर में इतना ये गलत है, वो गलत है, तभी हम उस पे काम करके वो थोड़ा सा मॉडिफाई करेंगे और हम अलग वाले जर्नल में, दूसरे जर्नल में सबमिट करेंगे. That will give us acceptance, right? So from that way you can think on the rejection if any journal rejects our paper, right? Because there is no value for the emotions in the research, right? Research is ultimately a research. No any place for the emotion is there, right? We should try until and unless the paper get accepted. There is no any other option, no any short way to get the paper accepted. If you go with the short way, if you go with any another way, then you will be in trouble, right? Next thing is that how to increase the research paper visibility, how our research work will be explored in the on the web or in the world. So how we can improve the visibility? So you can improve the visibility by sharing your research paper on ResearchGate, on LinkedIn, or on university repositories. These are some of the resources or some of the places available on where you can explore your research work and it will reach into the globe, and many people will read your work, many people will refer your work, and you will get the more visibility in terms of the citations on Google Scholar or on Web of Science or on IEEE or on Scopus also. Before submission, the final checklist, we should be very careful that proper formatting, correct references, proofread thoroughly, and file names. So this is the checklist. You should go with this checklist and proceed accordingly. There are some of the AI chatbot tools are there available. Most of you are already aware with these different chatbot AI tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, Gemini, Grok, then Perplexity, Quen. There are some of the different AI tools are there. Each tool is having different strengths and weaknesses. So as per your requirements, you can refer this or you can use these AI tools for a certain limit. That is very important. If you go thoroughly with ChatGPT, then you will be in trouble. If you go thoroughly with the Cloud, then also you will be in trouble. So wherever the necessity is there, up to a certain limit, we can make use of these different AI tools. No matter that I'm not telling about ChatGPT itself only. It is applicable for each and every AI tool that it's available today. These are common 15 chatbot prompts that I have identified, which will be definitely helpful for doing better research, like research plan, topic brainstorming, literature review, question building, timeline, data helper, gap identifier, methodology, credibility check, trade forecast, ethics review, summary maker, hypothesis generator, interdisciplinary linker, and quiz builder and research plan. So for these 15 points, 15 prompts, ChatGPT prompts are prepared. So those 15 prompts that you can take help of it, definitely it will help you for guiding you for performing your research. These are some of the free journal finder tools are there. As I said earlier in the previous slide, that is for elsewhere journal finder is there. For Springer Nature journal suggester is there. Then for Wiley publisher, the Wiley journal finder is there. For Taylor and Francis, CRC Press, T&F journal suggester is there. For IEEE Explore, IEEE publication recommender is there. For PLOS journal selector is there. For MDPI publisher, MDPI journal finder is there. For JANE, that is journal or author name estimator is there. Then for journal guide, JG, journal guide is there. Then Simago, journal and country rank. Then Inago journal finder is there. So these are some of the different journal searching tools are there. Those we can refer and we can find out the related journals or particular list of journals. The next thing is about the Scopus and Web of Science, because nowadays the big competition is going on between the Scopus and Web of Science. So each database, both are databases. Each database is having their own scope or own Scopus. Their own criterias are there, right? Specifically, the Scopus ownership is with the elsewhere and Web of Science ownership is with the Clarivate Analytics. Then in terms of indexing, if we see, then Scopus is having near about 28,000 journals which are indexed or in the database of Scopus. For Web of Science, near about 21,000 journals are there. The scope and coverage of Scopus is broad. It is specifically strong in science, engineering, health, and social sciences. Related with the Web of Science, its coverage is specifically for selective domains like strong in natural, social, and arts and humanities sector. In terms of the indexing structure, Scopus is having 4 quartiles, that is Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. In Web of Science, multiple collections are there like SCI journals, SSCI, AHCI, ESCI, right? So accordingly, the categories of this Web of Science journal is there. In terms of the inclusion criteria, it is easier entry, wider range of journals, that is Scopus. And for Web of Science, it tougher selection because journals must meet the standards. So likewise, this Scopus and Web of Science, both databases are very strong. Both are strong, but in terms of its scope, in terms of its requirements, in terms of the quality, in terms of the structure, the differences are there. Those differences I have mentioned here. So with this, I conclude my presentation and discussion. Uh, if you are having any query or any points you want to discuss, you want to clarify, you can ask me. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insightful session. All participants requested for any query, please ask to sir.
If anyone wants to ask anything, the platform is open. Definitely, I will share this presentation to you through the organizing committee. So no worry about it. Definitely, I will be happy that if you refer this presentation, because many things are included. I have included in this. Definitely, it will help you for your research work. So shall
Hello.
we conclude?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, 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 audible. You are audible.
So my question is, if suppose I am first time PhD scholar, which database would I refer first time?
Okay. Ma'am, I will suggest you that for your PhD work, some good quality journals you should prefer
Mhm.
with elsewhere, because
Elsewhere,
elsewhere
okay.
is one of the topmost nowadays, topmost and good publisher. And whatever the research papers which are available in the elsewhere database
Hmm.
are quality papers. Also, the language in the papers exist is quite easily understandable to the Indian people.
Okay, elsewhere.
If we compare with the IEEE and elsewhere databases, then specifically for IEEE, the language or the contents exist in the research paper are very tough.
Hmm.
Most of the times try to we never understand that what exactly the idea that has mentioned in these IEEE papers, because IEEE papers are available generally from the country of China, and like some European countries, people have published their paper in IEEE journals, and those ideas, those contents in the paper is not easily understandable to us. हमें एक एक पेपर रीड करने में, अंडरस्टैंड करने में 15-15 20-20 दिन लगते हैं. So
Yes.
instead of going with IEEE papers, IEEE database, better to go with the elsewhere.
Yes, I'm facing that problem only because a
Yes,
few languages and there the concepts explanation in a different word actually.
correct,
So I
correct,
was not getting. Thank
correct.
you,
So
sir.
you
Thank
can
you.
go with the elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
My
Okay.
suggestion to all the participant is that don't go with IEEE, because the language or the contents are which are exist in the paper are very tough. It will take
Yes.
very high time to read out, understand, and analyze it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All participants requested to fill a quiz and feedback as shared in chat box. I would like to thank you, Dr. Amolkumar, sir, for sharing their thoughtful and insightful sessions. And yes, your valuable guidance has greatly enriched our learnings. It is valuable for our joint participants. And if in future anyone need this in research, so we contact for the uh, more information to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your guidance.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Uh, Hello, everyone. Please turn on your video, turn on your camera. We'll take one photo.
Thank you, sir.
So just a minute. Also, please from your screen sharing.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you all participants. So we can stop this meeting. We continue tomorrow morning at further scheduled time. Please join the next session. Thank you. Have a good day.